So for day 8, the prompt is going to be bauble, so sphere. So I was thinking of using a round polystyrene foam ball like this one, which is, I think, 75 millimeters. I think that's what it said. And I got these at Spotlight, and my plan was to use this template that I found on Anne Wood's website. It's a free template, her sphere template, and this is the large one. So I traced the template with paper, using my computer screen as a light box, and stuck it onto cardboard. Now I've got some just old linen, it's kind of a linen here, that I'm going to trace 4 pieces of the template using this friction pen, and then I will be cutting them out. So I've cut out my my 4. Sorry, my voice is a bit funny. I cut out my 4 pieces of my template, and hopefully they will end up coming together nicely. So it might be a little bit long, but that's okay because I can kind of manipulate it as I go. Okay, so what will happen, they'll join and then come around. I'm not demonstrating that very well, hang on. So you'll basically stitch along that line there. Doesn't look so good, but they end up joining. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to embellish my sorry excuse me, that's a bit better. I want to embellish my panels in kind of a shabby chic style with different bits of fabrics, trims, laces, etc. So I'll just show you. I'm going to start with fabrics. Sorry if you can hear the fan, it's very hot here, and tomorrow's going to be super hot, so I have to have the fan running tonight. Alright, so just making sure I'm on screen, and what I'll do is I'll layer down bits of fabric to begin with to cover the shape, and they'll get stitched down, and then I'll embellish on the top. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that I'm thinking. Got lots of scrappy bits of fabric. Okay, just making sure that I'm covering the shape. All right, and then once I've covered the shape, I'm thinking I can move that one in a bit and underneath. I'll stitch all that down, and then what I'll do is I've got these little embellishment pieces, laces, things like that. Then I will start to stitch some bits and pieces over the top. So you kind of get that shabby chic kind of look. Okay, and then every now and then I might have a little embellishment, and of course some buttons. I'm going to use these little tiny ones. So each panel will be done, and then I'm going to show you how I'll stitch them together. I'm putting things on with this side up so I can see where my shape is. Alright, so let's just take off the extra bits on top. Alright, and we can pin down our fabrics so they just stay in place. And then I'm sure you can guess what type of stitching I'm going to do. Pretty simple. I'm just going to do some just little straight stitches, little running stitches. So just a normal machine cotton. I might stitch not just up and down, but in some different directions, so the direction that the fabric's going. So if I just come up here on this one, and if I have a little gap, it doesn't really matter because I've kind of got, this is like an old, I think it's a bit of a linen underneath, and it's like a neutral tone, so it doesn't matter. It's going to be under there if that peeks through. It goes along with the look that I'm trying to achieve. So I feel like my ideas for this Christmas thing are just progressively getting a little bit harder each time. So this one's a bit more challenging because you're going to try and manipulate your fabric into a sphere around the foam ball if that's what you want to do. I will give you an update on my house ornament, possibly not tonight because we haven't been around much for me to get much done, but I plan to work on it a bit over the weekend. So I'll give you an update. My next prompt for this is Sunday, so I might show you that one on Sunday. Sunday's prompt is a little bit different. It's something I've played around with doing before. It's going to be a great Christmas decoration. I think if I can pull it off, there are some wonderful examples out there of what I want to do. So it's going to be a little bit different. It's not just going to be slow stitching. There is going to be some slow stitching and textiles and fabric, but I might even use, I'll have to use, in fact I will have to use some glue as well, you'll see. So it may not be things you have lying around, it might be I've got all the things that I need, but if you don't, it'll be up to you if you decide to do it what you want to do. Okay, so I've done that one, stitched that one down. I'm going to come on this piece. This is a really sheer piece of fabric. It's off an old piece of trim, and it doesn't matter what directions you're going with your stitching. You're really just getting it down onto the base fabric. You could even do seed stitches all over this. Seed stitches are just little straight stitches but all different directions. Doesn't run in lines like this. We've done seed stitching in previous projects. Okay, I'm starting to come up onto that other piece of fabric. Let's do a little bit more, keep this piece down. The more shabby, the better. Okay, I'm going to end off this piece of thread. And I might use an old piece of perlé now. So let's have a go. I've got an old perlé, cream colour. What you could do, you don't have to do all Canthus style stitching with this one. I might just do little overcast stitches around the edge. So I'll show you this one panel, and then I'll pop the I'll pop the video off. I'm going to put that one on top. I really like that piece of fabric. I'll pop the video off and I'll do the other 3 panels. And then I'll come back and show you how I put it together. Now this is very experimental. I've not made one of these before. It's just an idea that popped into my head. I know people do cover spheres in fabric, but I don't think I've seen one slow stitched. If there is one, would love to see it. I had a look on Pinterest, I couldn't find any. So this may or may not work out. Let's see. Whoops, sorry. Flicked off, I got a little knot. Oh, things are hopefully settling down. I have had such an insanely busy week. Last week of term, actually not just week, past few weeks. I just don't feel like I've had time for anything. In fact, we only got about, I got maybe 4 hours sleep last night. My son had his formal, which is their end of year, I guess in America you call it prom. So it's their end of school prom. And that was a really good time. So between going to that, parents go to that with my school, the parents will go, which is lovely. It's nice for all the parents to celebrate with their sons and see each other, many probably for the last time, potentially, some of the parents. That was a really big night. I dropped him at an after party. Luckily, it was literally just around the corner from home. We went to pre-formal drinks, not far from home, about 5 minutes drive. And then the formal itself, and then I dropped Jamie off at his after thing, and he stayed there till about 2 a.m. and then they got shut down because they had a noise complaint, and the police came, so Jamie had to walk home. He didn't have his keys because we weren't very well prepared. So I think I just started to fall asleep and he rang me, and then he walked home. And so, yeah, I didn't get to sleep till maybe 2:30ish. And then up early today, we had a carpenter come, and he's been working on our building, fixing our windows. A lot of my windows were painted shut. And almost every window, they're sash windows and you couldn't open the top, so he's been working on all of them. And I've also had a few new ones put in because they're just old and the wood was a bit rotten. So we're getting all our windows fixed up in our building, which is a very big job. And mine was the last apartment to get done. So he did most of that today. He's got a couple more things to come back and do, but it's just about done. So I got up early with that, with him coming. Yeah, so we've been busy today with that. And now tomorrow I actually feel like we've got a bit of free time to do stuff. I have done only just a tiny bit of Christmas shopping. I've got a lot to do, so I've got to start thinking about going to do that. Lucky I'm now on holidays. I might stitch this bit and then I'll add the others on top. Yeah, so long story short, been really busy. He had speech day on Tuesday. We have that at the Sydney Opera House. It was at night. I say speech day because it's normally in the day, but it was a night one. So that was his final one of them as well. Everything, this is just a year of finals, a year of last this, last that, last water polo game, last rugby game, you know, last day of school. Everything has been a last. It's pretty quick to get these bits down. I hope this works out. I hope the vision in my head works out. I guess we'll see by the end of the video, won't we? I do intend to finish this one tonight. in total it's going to take you a little bit longer than some of our other decorations because you have to do the 4 panels. You could actually you could do it without the foam ball actually. That might look good. If I can't get the foam ball to work, I might just stuff these, because Anne Wood has designed these patterns to make spheres of different things. You'll see if you go to her website, which I've linked below, that she makes different things. Like she's done slow stitched, what are they? I think they're like beetroots or turnips or something, and they're just stuffed. So now I'm starting to think maybe I should stuff it. That'd be cool. You get a bit of an irregular shape. It'll be much easier rather than me trying to fit these pieces to the ball. I'm actually thinking that would be better. So let's just see how we go, and that's what I might end up doing, stuffing it. I really just want to get lots and lots of texture, lots of layers just built up on top of each other, scrappy fabrics. I like this piece. It's kind of a random, and just ripped it off this old piece of, might have been like a tea towel. Not sure, or a hand towel, maybe a hand towel, that one. But with the cantha stitching and the perlé thread, it's getting nice texture. It's funny where you get fabrics from. There's no harm in using tea towels if you like the feel of them, especially old ones. I mean, that's what I'm stitching my the treasure garden on. It's an old French tea towel, linen tea towel. They're beautiful. I love this fabric. It's super thin. I've got, where is it? I'll show you. I've got a few bits like that. That was the strap of just a tote bag, and scrappy old tote bag. It's thin fabric. I really like that red bit. It's like little delicate pieces of coral. All right, I might come back to the other cotton for this one. Once I finish this, I'm going to jump off camera and I am going to stitch the fabrics down onto the other 3 panels, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done, and then we'll start to embellish. And the more I think about it, the more I think I'm not going to use those foam balls. I'm going to stitch these and stuff them. To add over the top to give layers of texture. There's a couple of good ones. Cheesecloth is good. If you want to give it a bit of an age look, just a quick dip into tea. Just to, get a bit of aging on it is perfect. And the other thing that's really good is some old tulle. I like to add tulle. It gives some sort of mutes down the tones too. See, that fabric's a bit brighter and not so vintagey. This is not tulle, this is off a bit of lace, but if I put that over, that softens it up. So that's what tulle does as well. All right, I've got a little gap there where you can see my underlying fabric, but it doesn't matter because I might end, I've got bits like this. These are old bits of, they're linen pattern pieces. So, for example, let's just stitch that down. Just going to overcast stitch this one. Keep the thread going that I've already got on. I might keep going on this and embellish this one first, just to keep the video rolling. It's easier than editing later and putting it all together. Okay, we're almost there. Big loose thread there, let's snip it off. Another one there. All right, so there's my little base. Okay, so let's play around with some embellishing. Do that there. Piece of ripped up lace, like this bit, because you can stitch it down but you can still kind of see bits under. Maybe a bit of this stuff underneath here. Okay. So while I've got this threaded, let's just keep going. So just random stitches on this to hold it down. Just enough so that it doesn't move around, because this is quite a chunky cotton piece of trim, a scrap. Just going to try and make sure it's not too close to my edge. Oops. Now with your wood pattern, because I'm now not putting it on the foam ball, you can put it at any size you want. So you could do some mini ones of these, some big ones. You could even put some lavender in them if you'd like it to have a nice scent. Yeah, these would be nice, and make a whole heap of these and just have them in a bowl with lavender. So it makes your room smell nice. But this one is going to be made into a Christmas decoration. I will put a hanging piece on so that it can go onto my tree. So I haven't put my tree up yet. I think we're going to do that tomorrow. And then we've got new decorations to get on. The other thing I was thinking, it'd be good to just put the year that you stitch these somewhere, like stitch a little 23 somewhere, because if you make them, you know, different decorations on different years, you've kind of got the memories of when you made them. We buy a nutcracker every year, and we try to buy, one each year. Haven't bought one yet this year, we've got to do that. And I just write the year on the bottom in a Sharpie so that we can have our memories of when we got each one. And I was thinking with my little Christmas house decoration, once I'm finished, I was thinking of sewing the year on that, and then you could do one each year, and you could do them without a hanging thing. Mine's going on the Christmas tree, and end up with a little, you could end up with a little village that you build up each year. You could even do a little church, that'd be cute. A little Christmas church. Always keep little scraps like this because I'd stitch them onto things like little bits and pieces, like bits like that, and just gives you texture, which is great. So our bases are all done. Let's see what we want to add. Can stitch that down. I'm thinking maybe some buttons and stitching them with red thread. Let's see if we can get these end ones off. These are tiny little shell buttons. There's one. Of course I need my uneven number. Wonder why they used to put foil underneath. If anyone knows, let me know. There we go, 3. Let's do a little group of 3 buttons. Just got to make sure I keep them away from the edge so that I can stitch down my edges. Now I'd like a red perlé. Okay, here we go, some red. Okay, so let's get one in here. They're very small holes. I'm just seeing if this, no, I'm going to need a smaller needle. That's not going to get through. That one looks better. Looks better, but I'm not going to be, I might not be able to thread this one. Let's see. Perlé's thicker thread. Yeah, got it. Yes. All right, try again. Can I get this through? Yes, that's perfect. There we go. That looks better, a bit more interesting. All right, so time to hop off, and I'm going to stitch my other panels. Then I'll come back on later and I'll show you how you stitch it together to make your bauble, your sphere. Okay, I'll see you soon. So here are my 4 panels stitched. They did take me a little while in the end because I did a lot of embellishing, so there's a lot of different layers and some stitching, and I had a sweet little red flower embroidery, which I've added some bits and then some buttons on 2 of the panels. So now it's time to construct my bauble. So what I'm going to do, I'll start with this one, flip it over, and I'm going to redraw the shape. Okay, so I've got to keep outside the buttons on this one, which I think I'm good. Just trying to keep it right down close to the cardboard template. Oops. Okay, so hopefully I've got everything in the right place. All right. Some of that might run off the edge, but that's okay. Okay, so that's 3. Oh, sorry, 2. This is my third. I meant third one here. Okay, now the tricky part is lining it up. So need to, I'm just going to get a few pins. So I'm going to have a look if I come into this point and into that point. Okay, that's good so far. So what I will do is I'm going to stitch, hand stitch along that line. Just to make this first part really strong, I'm going to do a couple of stitches. Sorry, excuse me. Couple of stitches. Maybe a third one, just to make sure it's good. Okay, then what I'm going to do is stitch along the line. So just a, you can do a back stitch or a running stitch. I'm going to try and keep my stitches quite small, because it will be stronger. I mean, this is something you could do on the machine. It would be much quicker, but I'm trying to hand stitch everything. I'm doing a back stitch actually, not a running stitch. Back stitch I think will be stronger. Just make sure you're going right through to the other side. Trying to stick onto my line. Could be going slightly off my line on the other side, doesn't matter if that happens, as long as I'm keeping the shape on one side. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the camera off. I'm going to stitch these 2 panels together and then the other panels together, and then I'll show you how I come and we'll join all 4. Alright, so I'll be back soon. Alright, so my 2 pairs are stitched together. So this is what it's going to look like when you turn it out, and you'll have 2 sides. And what I'm thinking of doing is getting some like little bits of scrap and even just stitching bits over the seams a little bit, a few little bits of laces, just to make it blend in and look like one, so it doesn't look like it's 4 panels. So to put this together, what we do is we leave one turn that way and one turn this way, and we're going to sandwich them on top of each other. So the first thing I want to do is see if I can get those seams to meet. Oh, but hang on, before I do that, I need my string that it's going to hang with. So let me have a look at what I want to hang it with. I need something that will go. I think I'm going to find something and I'll come back in a sec, maybe some baker's twine. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. All right, so I got myself some baker's twine. It's like a red, a pale grey and a white, which will go well. So the top is going to be up here. So what I need to do is put my baker's twine. I'm going to just stitch that in place so it doesn't move. So we'll start with that. Okay, so I'm going to run it down the seam and just stitch over it. This will end up on the outside. You won't even see it. But it'll just hold it in place while I'm hand stitching the whole piece together. Okay. Now it's time to sandwich them. Just trying to feel where I think it should be. Put a pin in and I'll go to the other end. Try and match up the seam. So it's good when you run your seam this way on this side and the other way on the other side, because it will mean that it's flat when you sew it. And then out to here, and then out to here. And I need to leave a section where it will remain open for stuffing. So if I mark that out, I might do it on this side, like between there and say there. I know that I need to leave that open so I can stuff it. Okay. All right, so I'll start on this side and I'm going to do a few stitches just to secure the start. And then I'm going to do a back stitch. Once I've got stitches in, I can take that out because it's going to hold in place. Okay, so when I get up to the thread, I'm going to do several stitches over that as well, because it needs to be strong so that the bauble can hang. And then when I get to the end, I'll do several here as well and leave that open. So I'll turn off the camera again, I'll finish stitching this, and then I'll come back and show you. Alright, so here we go. Just before I turn it, I did little snips, being careful not to snip down where I stitched, just because when you turn a circle or something with a curved edge, it'll sit a bit better. So I just have to find my opening. Where is it? I do have one somewhere. There it is. And here we go. I hope it works out. It's a bit scary because I've hand stitched it rather than machine stitched it, so it's potentially not quite as strong. Takes a little while to turn. The butt of a pencil or a chopstick is good to help you turn it. I'll use that in a sec. I've almost got it. Don't want to make your gap too big, otherwise you've got more to hand stitch closed at the end. So just use my pencil and run it along the edge. So once I stuff that, that will become more round, but I'm really happy with that. I think that's going to be good. So I've got a bit of stuffing here. I might have to go get some more. I often use old like polyester filled pillows for stuffing rather than the toy fill stuffing. It's softer, feels nicer. So for those in Australia and New Zealand, I literally will go to Spotlight and find a cheap cushion and use that as my stuffing. All right, I think I'm going to have to jump off camera and go get some more stuffing, because you want this to be filled quite solidly, and I can stitch those if I want to add that extra bit of lace on the edges. I can do that once it's done. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've got a bunch of stuffing and I'll keep filling it up. So at the moment I'm fine just to do it with my finger, but then I might use the butt of a pencil just to get it right in there. Like for example, over to the far side. The more I stuff it, I'm going to stuff this actually quite solidly just to try and get that shape as round as possible. Might not be perfect because it's hand stitched rather than machine stitch. If it was machine stitch, you might get it a bit more perfect. And once you stitch it closed, you can kind of play around with the shape, try and manipulate it a bit. Not exactly round, but I might be able to smooth that out a bit. All right, so let's stitch it closed, and then we can play around, try and get it a little bit more round. I think that's going to be quite cute. All right, so just my normal sewing machine cotton again. I'm going to show you how to stitch it so that it sucks right in and you can't really see the stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to come down a little bit on the inside to get the knot in the middle. Come back to there. Okay, and what you do, you come over to the other side and you do a little stitch, like a running stitch. Okay, then I do the exact same on the other side, like a little straight stitch. And then I just keep going on each side, alternating sides. And when you pull it together, you can't see where the stitches are. Sure, people who have made softies, stuffies, that kind of thing will know this technique. Trying to make sure I get through both layers of fabric, the base layer as well as anything on the top, to make sure it's strong. Looks a little bit dented at the moment, but that's just because there's no stuffing there. We'll be able to play around with it and even it out. I'm just going to do a few stitches, and what I might do, thinking of putting a bit of the trim over the top of it, and just stitching that down a bit, so you can actually easily stitch more bits on. All right, let's play around with our shape a bit more. Rolling it like a ball. That's pretty cool. What do you think? I like that. I may add some bits and pieces on, but I'll probably do that. I like that, how it's covered it up. Like, yeah, where you got a big seam like that, I might add some bits on, and I think I might make some holly leaves and some red, and put some red pom-poms here, like a bit of holly at the top of the ball. But I'm really happy with that. What do you think? Anyway, have fun. Hope you make one and you enjoy it. And I look forward to seeing what you do. That took quite a while, that one. So hope you've got some time to make one. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.